Hey, everybody, welcome back. Are you ready to dive into something a little unexpected?
Ooh, I love unexpected.
Yeah, me too.
I'm ready.
All right, so today we are going to be cracking open a study guide on the Book of Titus.
Okay.
Before you click away thinking this is all about, fire and brimstone,
Yeah.
this guide is really trying to make these ancient teachings relevant
Yeah.
to your life,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're part of the younger generation,
The younger crew.
the younger crew.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're bringing Titus to Gen Z.
Yeah.
All right, I'm here for it.
So, what do you think?
It's interesting, isn't it? You would think that a book written centuries ago wouldn't have much to say about our modern world.
Right.
But Titus tackles stuff like leadership, how we act, and living authentically in a world that often feels anything but authentic.
Right.
It's almost like a blueprint for how to live a good life even amidst the chaos.
That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay, so blueprint for a good life amidst the chaos. I like it. Where does it start? What's the first nugget of wisdom?
Ooh. Well, right off the bat, chapter 1 dives into this idea of choosing good leaders.
Okay.
It talks about finding people who are blameless, faithful, and self-controlled to guide us.
That sounds like a really tall order.
Yeah.
I'm guessing there's a deeper meaning
Yeah.
here, right? It's
Yeah.
not just about finding the perfect pastor or guru.
Exactly. This guide takes it a step further and reminds us that we are constantly choosing who to be influenced by, whether we realize it or not. Think about it.
Okay.
Your social media feeds,
Yeah.
the YouTubers you follow, even the friends you hang out with, they're all shaping your thoughts and actions.
That's true.
So the question becomes, are the people you're letting lead you inspiring you
Yeah.
to be a better version of yourself?
Oh, that one hit close to home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so easy to just passively scroll through social media, but I'm starting to see how
Yeah.
those seemingly small choices actually have a big impact on who I am and who I'm becoming.
It's about being intentional with your influences,
Yeah.
being discerning about who you're giving your attention to. And then it flips the script
Okay.
and makes you think, are you that positive influence for someone else? Do you embody those qualities of blameless, faithful, and self-controlled?
Whoa. Okay. You're really making me think here. It's not just about who I'm following, but also who I'm being for others.
Right.
It's like leadership isn't just a title. It's an energy
Yeah.
we bring to every interaction.
Yes.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. Nobody's perfect, right?
Of course.
We all mess up sometimes.
It's not about being perfect. It's about striving for progress. Titus doesn't expect us to become saints overnight.
Yeah.
It's more about recognizing our imperfections and making a conscious effort to grow, to become a little bit better each day.
So it's like we're all works in progress,
Mhm.
constantly evolving and learning.
I like that.
I can get behind that. Okay, so we're being mindful of who we follow, who we are for others. What else?
Well, in chapter 2, things get a little more specific.
Okay. Titus starts giving practical advice to different groups, young men, young women, older men and older women. And this is where I think the guide gets really interesting.
Oh, tell me more. What kind of practical advice are we talking about? Because I'm all about actionable tips, not just vague platitudes.
Right. Well, one thing that really stands out is this idea that your life reflects your beliefs, whether you're conscious of it or not.
Okay.
It's not just about talking the talk. It's about walking the walk. It's about how you treat others, how you handle your responsibilities, how you react when things get tough. Those are the things that reveal your true character.
Okay, I see where this is going. It's like actions speak louder than words.
Right.
Right. It's not enough to just say you believe in something.
Yeah.
You have to live it out in your everyday life.
Right.
But what does that look like in practice?
Yeah.
Need a concrete example.
Let's take the example of older women mentoring younger women.
Okay.
Something Titus specifically encourages. Imagine a world where instead of judgment and competition between generations, we have more of that. Supportive guidance and wisdom sharing. How much stronger would we be?
That's a good point. Instead of tearing each other down, we could be building each other up.
Right.
But what about us, guys? Any wisdom nuggets?
Definitely. For the young men out there, for young men, Titus puts a big emphasis on self-control.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's something a lot of us can relate to.
Right. Especially in today's world, where we're constantly bombarded with temptation.
Yes. And distractions. Whether it's late night scrolling on social media, that extra slice of pizza, or, other things that test our willpower.
Exactly. And Titus isn't saying we have to become superhuman monks.
Right.
It's more about recognizing our weaknesses and making a conscious effort to manage them. It's about striving for progress, not perfection.
So we're not aiming to become robots who never give in to temptation. It's more about being aware of our triggers, making conscious choices, and
Yeah,
cutting ourselves some slack when we slip up.
exactly. It's about self-awareness, intentionality, and grace.
I'm feeling inspired. But you know me, I always like to bring things back to our listeners. So dear listener, think about this. What's one small step you can take today to live more authentically? To align your actions with your values. It doesn't have to be a huge life-altering decision. It could be as simple as putting your phone away during dinner with friends, or speaking up for someone who's being treated unfairly.
I love that. It's about recognizing those small everyday choices and making them count.
And you know what? I'm starting to see a pattern here. It's like Titus is all about taking ownership of our lives, making choices that align with our values, and realizing that we have more power than we think to shape our own destinies and the world around us.
You're absolutely right. It's about empowerment and agency.
Yeah.
Titus is all about taking responsibility for our choices and their impact. And speaking of impact, that leads us perfectly into chapter 3, where things get incredibly relevant to the world we live in today.
Oh, I'm all ears. What's chapter 3 all about? Does Titus have some hot takes on social media or something?
Well, not explicitly, but he does touch on something that feels incredibly timely. In our age of online debates and social media conflicts, avoiding pointless arguments and focusing on doing good.
Wait, seriously? That's straight out of Titus.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's the one thing missing online these days. Less arguing and more doing good.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's shouting into the void, but no one's actually rolling up their sleeves and making a difference.
It's so true. And Titus challenges us to think, what if we channeled all that energy we spend debating and arguing online into actually making a positive impact? What if instead of trying to win an argument, we focused on winning hearts and minds through acts of kindness and compassion?
Whoa, mind blown. It's like instead of trying to change people's opinions through force or logic, we could be showing them a different way of being through our actions.
Yeah.
Like lead by example, right?
Exactly. And it's not about being passive or ignoring injustice. It's about choosing our battles wisely and recognizing that sometimes the most powerful way to make a difference is through quiet, consistent action.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this ancient wisdom can really apply to our modern lives. It's not about being preachy or judgmental. It's about finding a better way to navigate the complexities of the world and make a positive impact. But isn't there a danger in taking things too far? Like, what about holding people accountable for their actions? Shouldn't we speak out against injustice?
You raise an important point. Titus isn't saying we should turn a blind eye to wrongdoing. It's more about choosing the most effective way to address it, sometimes. That means speaking truth to power, but other times, it might mean focusing on building bridges and fostering understanding.
Okay, so it's about being discerning and strategic. It's not about shying away from difficult conversations, but it's also about recognizing that sometimes actions speak louder than words. But I gotta be honest, sometimes I feel so overwhelmed by the state of the world. Like, what difference can one person really make?
I hear you. It's easy to feel powerless in the face of so much suffering and injustice. But here's where Titus offers a really powerful message of hope and encouragement. Remember back in chapter 1 when we were talking about leadership qualities? Well, one of those qualities was faithfulness. And that's not just about being faithful to a set of rules or doctrines. It's about being faithful to something bigger than ourselves.
Oh, okay, I'm following you. So it's not just about our individual actions. It's about being part of something larger, something that connects us to a deeper purpose.
Exactly. And that's where the concept of God's grace comes in. It's this idea that we're not in this alone, that there's a force of love and goodness working in the world, even when we can't see it.
Okay.
And even when we mess up, even when we fall short of our ideals, that grace is still there for us.
Whoa, that's deep. So it's like even when we feel lost or discouraged, we can tap into this source of strength and inspiration that reminds us that we're part of something bigger than ourselves.
Precisely. It's like having a cosmic safety net that catches us when we fall and gives us the courage to keep going, even when things get tough.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. It's about choosing good influences, living authentically, focusing on action over arguments, and remembering that we're not alone in this journey. But I'm curious, how does this idea of grace play out in our everyday lives?
That's a great question. I think grace manifests in many ways. It's that feeling of forgiveness when we make a mistake, that sense of compassion for ourselves and others, that unwavering belief that things will ultimately work out for good, even when we can't see how.
It's like that inner voice that whispers, "You got this? even when we're doubting ourselves right.
Exactly. It's that unwavering source of support and encouragement that reminds us that we're loved, valued, and capable of amazing things, even when we don't feel like it.
Okay, I'm feeling all warm and fuzzy inside. But you know me, I always like to bring things back to our listener. So dear listener, I want you to pause for a moment and reflect on this. Where do you experience grace in your life? Who are the people who offer you that unconditional love and support? And how can you be a source of grace for others? Because I think that's what Titus is ultimately calling us to do, to be vessels of grace, to spread that love and compassion out into the world. It's amazing to think that a book written so long ago can still speak to us so powerfully today.
I know, right?
It's like Titus tapped into some fundamental truths about human nature that transcend time and culture.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
a testament to the enduring power of wisdom. And, as we've been discussing these different themes, leadership, actions, grace, I can't help but notice how interconnected they all are. It's like they're all pieces of a larger puzzle that, when put together,
Yeah.
reveal a picture of what it means to live a truly fulfilling life.
That's such a great observation. It's not just about checking off boxes or following a set of rules. It's about cultivating a certain way of being in the world, a way of living that's grounded in integrity, compassion, and purpose. But I think what really resonates with me is this idea that we're not just passive recipients of grace.
Right.
We're also called to be active agents of it.
Precisely. We're not just here to receive blessings. We're also here to be a blessing to others. And that's where I think Titus really challenges us to step up and make a difference. It's about recognizing that we have a responsibility to use our gifts, our talents, our resources to make the world a better place.
So it's not just about personal growth or spiritual enlightenment. It's about taking that transformation and letting it ripple outwards, impacting the lives of others, and ultimately contributing to a more just and compassionate world.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that our lives are interconnected and that our actions have ripple effects that extend far beyond ourselves. It's about understanding that we're all part of a larger web of life and that our choices, our words, our actions have the power to make a positive or negative impact on that web.
Okay, that's a powerful image. I'm starting to see how Titus isn't just about individual salvation or personal piety. It's about recognizing our interconnectedness and taking responsibility for our role in creating a more just and compassionate world. But, all this talk about responsibility and action can feel a bit overwhelming at times. Where do we even begin?
That's a great question, and I think Titus offers us a simple yet profound starting point.
Okay.
Our relationships. Think about the people you surround yourself with. Are those relationships lifting you up, inspiring you to be your best self? Or are they draining your energy and holding you back from your full potential?
That's something I've never really thought about before. It's like we tend to focus on our individual actions, but our relationships have a huge impact on who we are and how we show up in the world.
Absolutely. Our relationships are the soil in which we grow, the mirrors that reflect back to us who we are becoming. So if we want to live a life that's aligned with the teachings of Titus, we need to be mindful of the company we keep. Are we surrounding ourselves with people who challenge us to grow, who support us in our endeavors, who inspire us to be more loving and compassionate?
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
It's like we need to create a supportive ecosystem for ourselves, a network of people who nourish our souls and encourage us to be the best versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
But it's not just about choosing the right people right. It's also about being the right person for others.
Absolutely. We have the power to be that positive influence in the lives of others. We can be the friend who offers a listening ear, the colleague who lends a helping hand, the family member who provides unconditional love and support.
And you know what? It doesn't have to be complicated. It's not about grand gestures or heroic feats. It's about those small, everyday acts of kindness, generosity, and integrity. It's about showing up for the people in our lives in authentic and meaningful ways.
Beautifully said. And I think that's the beauty of Titus's message. It's not about striving for perfection or achieving some unattainable ideal. It's about embracing the messiness of life, showing up as our imperfect selves, and striving to make a positive difference in the world, one relationship at a time.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Titus, I think the key takeaway is this. Our lives have meaning and purpose, and our actions, no matter how small they may seem, have the power to make a difference.
Beautifully said. It's about living intentionally, choosing our influences wisely, and striving to be a force for good in the world, starting with the people closest to us.
And remembering that even amid all the chaos and uncertainty of life, there's this unwavering source of grace that supports and guides us along the way.
It's been an absolute pleasure exploring these timeless truths with you.
And to our listener out there, we hope you've been inspired to dive deeper into the wisdom of Titus and discover how these ancient teachings can guide you toward a more fulfilling and purposeful life.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep growing, keep diving deep.